And so again, I just want to welcome everybody. If you're watching this video after the fact, I want to welcome everyone who's here on a wonderful Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. We'll let the faculty and honor staff introduce themselves, and we'll open up for questions or comments or just kind of a conversation and discussion. So the way that we'll do this is I'll have the first person introduce themselves, and they should pick the next person, because I realized after doing these for several weeks, the way that you appear on my screen is not the way that everyone appears on everyone else's screen. So when I say left to right or top to bottom, it's different for everyone. So Gannon, do you want to, Professor Tiger, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and then pass it to the next person?
Hi everyone, my name is Gannon Tagger. I'm the Associate Dean in the College of Health and Human Services, and I will be teaching the Pre-Nursing Honors 101 cohort in the fall. And I guess next to me is Brittany.
Sorry about that. Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Beal. I'm the coordinator of admissions for the Honors College. So I will pass it on to Dr. Krause.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Krause, Tanya Krause, whatever. Anyway, I am a core faculty member in the Honors College. I also am a professor of English. So my Honors 101 classes in the fall are called the Hidden Curriculum, and I can talk more about that later. So David Keim.
Hi, I'm David Keim. I apologize. I've tried many combinations. I can't get the light right in this room for these meetings. But anyway, there I'm looking a little better. I'm the coordinator of advising for the Honors College, so I will be helping students get registered for these wonderful Honors 101s and Honors learning communities. And did we want to have students introduce themselves? Or so the one I'm seeing on my screen is Maria Huff. So Maria.
Hi, I'm Maria. I'm obviously going to be an incoming freshman, and my major is going to be piano performance.
So if any of the other students would like to introduce themselves, feel free. We'll take a minute here if you want to say hello.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I'll turn my screen on. I don't know if that worked, but I'm going to go into the College of Informatics, and I want to major in communications.
Hi, I'm Kanan Osborne. I'm not sure how to turn my screen back on, and I want to major in sociology.
Excellent. Anyone else want to say hello? Usually a pretty quiet group. So we have student Thu from Vietnam, who wrote in the comments introducing herself. She'll be majoring in international business. She's having some mic and camera problems, but well, welcome from all the way from Vietnam. And we have Alex, who is an incoming freshman, also joining us in writing in the comments. Well, welcome everyone. So kind of just to start is, maybe I'll have Dr. Krause just talk a little bit about what is the Honors 101, 102 first year experience. What are the kinds of things that we do in these courses? So I'll let you go ahead and I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, no, that's fine. I actually did a little preparation for this. I was worried that you might do such a thing. So I think that the Honors 101, 102 sequence is something really special that we offer honors students. On the one hand, yes, it fulfills foundation of knowledge requirements that everyone needs for graduation. So yay, it does that. But that's not why Honors 101 and 102 are awesome. What I would say is that really these courses form the real foundation of everything you're going to do in honors from day one all the way until you're walking across that stage and graduating. So we talk a lot about how to use research and writing to connect with problems in the real world, and how the work that we do in the classroom really should inform the way that we engage as citizens, both within the campus community as well as in the communities that we're from. I also think that Honors 101 and 102 are special because there's a real emphasis on coming up with your own questions to drive your research. I don't know if you all have had this experience as high school students, but I will admit that when I was a high school student and I was given a research paper to write, what I would end up doing is figuring out a topic that would work. Like, oh, will this work? Will my teacher give me an A if I do this? And then I would go research something I had no interest in, and I would write it up and I would get the A. That's not how real researchers do it. Real researchers have questions they're passionate about. They actually are curious to learn the answers to those questions. And sometimes they have to get creative to find the answers to those questions. So really, Honors 101 and 102 are about changing that perspective from the audience for this work as a teacher, and I'm going to jump through the hoops that the teacher sets for me, to really being the author of your own inquiry and really getting the chance to do some exciting things that matter to you. So is that enough, Jim? Okay.
And what I do is invite, I see we have another faculty member joining us, Dr. Callahan. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. Maybe.
Hi, sorry, I've been in back-to-back appointments with actually my Honors 102 students, but my dogs also needed to go outside, so I'm here. Sorry, Dean Buss, what did you ask?
No, I was just, if you had any other sort of thoughts you wanted to share with our incoming students about the Honors 101, 102 sort of first year experience.
Well, I will say that I'm a professor in the Department of English. I'm a medievalist, and so my PhD is actually not in English literature. It's an interdisciplinary degree. And I'm teaching in the honors program for the first time this semester. I'm teaching Honors 102. I haven't done 101 as yet. But I have found it very invigorating. The students, because they come from all different areas of interest of what they want to explore at university, that we have a very interdisciplinary classroom. They're so energetic. They really keep me on my toes and keep me incredibly honest and ask me questions where I have to often say, you know what, I'm gonna have to go look that up and come back next class and give you an answer, because the questions are passionate, deep. For freshman students, it's a wonderful teaching experience for faculty. So I will tell you that the faculty that teach your classes, particularly in 101 and 102, are very excited to have you in the classroom. And we really enjoy, you know, not an adversarial challenge, but challenges where you want to take whatever we're exploring deeper or even broader. It can be both directions. And so, yeah, and so right now my course is on digital culture. So I have students in the class who are in environmental sciences, in English, in computer science, in our cybersecurity program, in accounting, very broad interests. But they've explored digital games together and thinking about what it's like to exist in a virtual environment rather than real life. Of course, we weren't expecting the pandemic and be able to do it even more virtually than we anticipated. So that's what I would say about how much I enjoy teaching the course.
Dr. Taggart, you want to comment whether we have students here? I didn't see anybody who said nursing, but we often get, like I said, 30, 40 folks who watch this after it's posted on YouTube. Talk a little bit about the relationship between the honors first year experience and students who are majoring at pre-nursing or nursing.
So this will be the first time that I will have taught Honors 101. But what we have we piloted last year was an experiential nursing honors program. And so my hope is with 101 this year to really get the nursing students thinking about the experiences they want to have above and beyond their normal clinical experiences in the nursing program. What does that look like? What is a project they can carry through from first year through capstone in their senior year? We actually have a couple of grants we just found out that we got in the works that would be perfect for some students to be working with through their 4 years. So, you know, we can talk about that when class starts, but that's what it's like. It's like Dr. Krause was saying, it's taking it above and beyond. So rather than simply doing your clinical experiences and your courses and moving on, what is that added value you can bring to your nursing program that will take you a step above beyond graduation to be able to implement even, you know, procedural changes on units, population health initiatives, other things that you may not have been able to do had you not been part of this program.
So I want to open it now to if any students have any questions first. I have some questions that some students have sent me ahead of time or that have carried over from other previous sessions that sort of fit with this, with the guests that we have today. But I wanted to offer students the opportunity to sort of ask the first set of questions. So.
Don't be shy. Like, we really want to hear from you.
Do we know yet, like, if classes in the fall are going to be online or in the classroom, or if it's going to be like a little bit of both? Just curious.
So I can tell you that we do not at this moment have a decision. There's a timeline that we'll know by June 15th. The university will make an announcement by then. I will say that the faculty in Honors 101 and 102, our first year experience faculty, we're meeting on Monday. And one of the questions I posed is whether or not we're online or face-to-face is what kinds of opportunities and what kinds of programming can we offer. We've actually learned a lot this semester, these kinds of things that we're doing these webinars each week. What kinds of things like this, no matter if we're in, you know, face-to-face on campus or virtually, what kinds of things can we offer to you that sort of add value to your first year experience in honors? So I know that's not the answer is we don't know yet, but.
And I mean, one thing I'll say as well is that the feeling that I'm getting from conversations I've had with colleagues around campus, but with administrators, I think everybody wants to be back on campus. I don't think anyone's strong desire is to not have the campus experience. So really, whatever decision gets made is going to be made in consultation with health professionals. It's going to be made based on what is happening within the states in terms of stay-at-home orders. So there are a lot of things that are being considered, but your teachers want to be in the classroom with you. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse. But
I see everyone shaking their heads very actively. Professor Downing, would you like to introduce yourself? We kind of went through a little bit earlier, but I said some of the faculty will be joining us on and off. So
yes, sorry about that. Hi, I'm Megan Downing. I teach in organizational leadership, and I will be teaching my first honors class this fall. I don't know, I was a former nurse, and they always told us not to tell people if it was our first shot or our first procedure. We don't want to freak them out and make them nervous. So I don't want to make people nervous not to take my class because it's my first honors. But I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, I kind of got in on the tail end of what Tanya was saying, but I'm creatively designing it in my head for any type of scenario. I'm trying to think of ways to make it, you know, a rich and engaging learning experience. And, you know, just one of the things that I think my colleagues would agree with me here is that, you know, the situation we've been in for these past several weeks is very different from anything anybody could ever imagine. But if it's planned for, I mean, this wasn't planned, and we've done a pretty bang up job of navigating some pretty rough waters, I think. But if it's planned for, even if it's different than what was expected, it can still be pretty awesome. There are ways to make it very awesome. So,
and Dr. O'Callaghan here. I would like to add to Dr. Downing's comments that the really nice thing about NKU is that although the big thing is up close and personal with our students, whether it's face-to-face or online, we have a really robust group of instructional designers that over the summer will make sure that we get our courses online the best way possible. They have experience with a lot of online technology. So even if it ends up that we're blended, so partially online and face-to-face or online, I can really tell you this makes a difference. I have friends at universities where their university has never offered an online course before until they had to go online this semester. And so, I promise you, I think everyone in the honors program is going to make sure that their courses are as robust and as rewarding as possible, regardless of the delivery system, because that's really all we're talking about. But there's no question, yes, face-to-face is ideal, but we'll work with what we have. So I'll mute myself now.
And like I said, the current situation has forced us to be creative, and this is the first time that I can say this publicly, but it is official now. Some of the faculty here are involved in some of these discussions. We will be, all of the admitted incoming first year honor students will receive an email from me next week. We're sending iPads to 60 students over the summer to already start to work with faculty in honors on a project that connects community to the current pandemic and sort of thinking about what your honors experience is going to be like. So that's something that probably would not have happened had sort of this situation occurred, but we had a very generous donor who has made this possible. So we've been creative in all of this. So that, while there hasn't been a decision, I think that all of us shaking our heads want to come back as soon as possible. But we're doing some really interesting and creative things that I think are exciting no matter what happens. Any other more questions from students? So question here from Alex is Honors 101 and 102 mandatory for honors? And David, why don't you sort of chime in here as our advisor?
So for most incoming first year honor students coming from high school to NKU, you will be taking Honors 101 in the fall and Honors 102 in the spring. And that not only, as Dr. Krause said, really sets the tone for everything honors and beyond that you'll be doing for 4 years at NKU, it can also complete a big chunk of your general education courses that are required as well. We are, seeing students that are coming in with all those general education, if not all general education done from various high school, school-based scholars type work. And so we will have an option for students in that case. If you have all of your written and oral communication done, there's another option we'll engage. But either Honors 101 and 102 or this other option would be mandatory to come and start the honors curriculum at the Honors College.
Yeah. Dr. Krause, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, sure. One thing that I will say is that I think Honors 101 and 102, yes, I mean, I think that like they are foundational in the sense of, oh, it's a requirement, right? But the other thing that I will say is that I think that students in honors, whether they are commuters or whether they live on campus, whether they are students who enter the program as first day of school, first semester freshmen right out of high school, or whether they enter the program later, really what Honors 101 and 102 does is it really hooks you into the community of honors. And there's a lot that happens in 101 and 102 that, I mean, yes, there are things that happen in the classroom, but we also have co-curricular programming that connects to the various courses. So for example, last fall, I taught a learning community that was based on law and legal studies. And my students were able to go to lunch and learns where they met the mayor of the city of Covington and where they met local attorneys who are practicing and who could talk about that process. And then I know as well with entrepreneurship, I know that Dean Buss took students to Centrifuge, wasn't it? I can't think of what exactly, they're like, they connect with startups.
Yeah.
But basically 101 and 102 give you sort of all of these opportunities to engage more deeply, both with campus and with the world beyond campus. And I think that's really special. Another thing that we really emphasize in Honors 101 and 102 is that research isn't just about the classroom. Research is about connecting with audiences beyond the classroom. So one of the things we do in 101 that students always say they get a lot out of is we do a student research conference where every 101 student presents. And that's really exciting because it sort of allows you to develop your ideas in a way that you're presenting it to a more public audience. And I know I've mentored students to do things like participate at conferences, whether it's the student celebration of research in the spring that happens every year, or whether it's things off campus. Students also have presented at more community-oriented venues. So that's part of the foundation that 101 and 102 give you. And it really does prepare you to go on and do really awesome things in the rest of your time.
I see Dr. Zlatkins joined us, who also teaches in the Honors First Year Experience. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dr. Zlatkin, so I also teach in the Honors College and I teach in Integrative Studies. And it's good to meet you all. Are there other things you'd like me to share, Dean Buss?
I will say it's kind of we have a mix of faculty who are teaching in different learning communities that are also attached to the 101, 102 sequence. So we have nursing, Professor Downing with the leadership studies or leadership learning community, community engagement. We've taught in law. I teach in the entrepreneurship learning community. So there's also thematic communities that are attached to 101 and 102. So Alex, your question, is it mandatory? For many students it is. There's some first year experience that's mandatory for all honors students, whether it's 101 and 102 or honors 100, 200 or honors 200. There's different sequences of this. It's anywhere from 1 credit to 6 credits depending on what you're bringing in with your college, through community college, through school-based scholars, through AP credit and whatnot. But the learning communities that are attached to the 101 and 102, I think, are also one of the great advantages of what we do, that help prepare you either for, in terms of professional development. We have pre-med, pre-law, nursing, or explore different kinds of areas like community engagement or leadership or forgetting what the social justice. I think we have 10 different themes in the fall lined up. So let me ask the faculty this question who've taught in Honors 101 and 102, because it's a question we often get from students and it came up in other sessions. Is Honors 101 and 102 or Honors in general, is it just harder and more work than my regular classes? And is it worth it? So you see some chuckles because we get this question a lot.
No, it's not harder or more work. It is, I think what I've liked even just about teaching in honors is kind of what I think a lot of my students enjoy about being in honors classes, which is that it's motivated by what you all are interested in. And so they may be research classes, but these are readings and research questions that you all are deciding upon for yourselves, you know? So there may be content that we bring into the class, and I think the other honors, you know, instructors can speak to this as well. Like, we will have a topic a lot of times for the class, and we'll start with some readings, but really we're sitting in a circle talking about them and listening to all the different kinds of perspectives that everybody's bringing into it. And so even when the readings and the topic are kind of predetermined at first, the directions of those discussions and what we do with readings down the road are a lot more connected to where class discussions and what you all are interested in. So that's what I really love about it, is that it's a way of fostering curiosity, and really that kind of inner curiosity that you have is the energy that pushes the class forward, I would say, more than anything else. And that's really how research should be. So that's why I really enjoy teaching in honors, and I think why honors students, that's something they get out of it.
I 100% agree with all of that. I would only add to, I think that a lot of times high achieving students in high school, their experience often feels like they're either being pushed to get certain grades, or they're being pushed to get certain kinds of test scores. And that a lot of times that can feel like a very unsupportive environment. And so it can feel like one is working very, very hard to meet these benchmarks without a lot of, again, without a lot of support. That is the opposite of what honors at NKU is. First of all, one of the things I think we work very hard on emphasizing in Honors 101 and 102 is that grades are not the measure of your worth, and that there are things more important than grades. Like, grades are important, don't get me wrong, but there are things that are more important, like your whole person. The other thing that I would say as well is that a lot of times students will say to me, oh, I hate group projects because I end up doing all the work. Or I hate doing this sort of assignment because I end up shouldering this huge burden and it takes hours and hours. In honors, we really are a community, and we're a community in the classroom. And we work on teaching you how to effectively collaborate, and we work on setting it up so that everyone succeeds and shares in the work of the course, including the instructor. And so I think that that concern about, is this just a lot more work, or do we have, you know, to write a 50-page paper instead of a 10-page paper? I think that's misplaced. I think that what we're looking for is a higher level of engagement, and that doesn't translate to mountains of homework. It translates to just being more intentional about the work you are doing. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would add that there's a, I think some of the apprehension of, is it more work, is in many ways the fact that Honors 101 and 102 is somewhat more self-guided, and students are sort of empowered to choose your own topics, to kind of take your own directions in the course. And sometimes for students that can be unsettling at first, but you know, in my many years of teaching honors first year courses, that apprehension goes away pretty quickly and is replaced with excitement and sort of engagement in the course. And so, yeah, I always say it's not more work. We don't grade harder because it's an honors course. It's a different kind of way of learning. I don't know if anybody wants to.
I'd like to add one thing, but it's really quick because I know I already talked about this, but like what you find is that because you're enthusiastic and you're interested and you're curious in the subject that you're doing, that you become kind of surprised by how much you can do. And so sometimes you actually do more than you would in other classes, but you don't, without even really realizing it or thinking about it. And so once you make that shift where you're kind of realizing that you really are able to kind of trust your gut and just follow through on that, you kind of discover how much you're actually capable of by being able to do that. So that's kind of the cool thing.
I will say, I think one of the things that shocks my students is, it did this semester as well with Honors 102, is there's no textbook, there's no books required this semester for my course, because you're doing sort of the research independently. We're using stuff from the library, and so it's interesting to hear my students talk about that, as this was the first course I took that I didn't have to buy a book for. We're still doing reads, we're still doing that kind of stuff, but it's sort of been guided by the direction of the students, their interest in the course itself and the topic. And so, you know, I would say honors is just different, not harder or more work, just different. Other questions, concerns, apprehensions? Like, what are you excited about the fall?
Do you have like a lot of double majors in the honors college? Like, is that a common thing? Is that something you like encourage your students to do, or is it something that's like, don't try it? Like, how is that in the honors college?
David, do you want to?
The answer is yes, we have double majors. We have majors and minors. I could tell you about the alum who was major 3 or 4 minors and the honors curriculum. So it really is trying to match your interests and what you want to do to make the most out of your time at NKU with the time you have available at NKU. You know, we've had people that have done many academic programs and took longer than 4 years to graduate. We've had people do double majors and double minors and honors and took exactly 4 years to graduate. And it just kind of depends on your combination. And that's one of the things I do with students is I sit down with you and say, okay, you know, what in your ideal world would you accomplish here at NKU? And then let's talk about what's the sequence of classes, how many total classes, and how that all might fit together or not. So what I would say, and I'll give my advising pitch here, is that I see a fair amount of students getting multiple technical majors, minors, and certificates, when all of the workforce projections and all the leaders in the world of work say that yes, in the 21st century, everybody needs technical skills, but you also need, you know, these critical thinking, these communication skills that programs like honors or other, you know, more traditional humanities, liberal arts majors or minors can help enhance. So I'm always encouraging students to maybe find some combo of technical or professional and you know, more traditional liberal arts type combinations. So that's my general advice. That's not for everybody, but that's my general advice. And yes, honor students complete multiple majors and minors all the time.
Yeah, and I would add to that, we have quite literally students in every major and program on campus, and every combination you can imagine. We have a current student is both physics and music theater or theater background right now, who's doing that combination, which I do not envy. A student doing, you know, that double major, but who is presented at both national physics conferences and was last semester involved in 3 different theater productions. So and is completing all of her work in honors. So all combinations are possible.
You know, I'll just chime in with a student like that. It might be several of our majors have different degrees. Like in theater, there's the BFA versus the BA. In physics, there's the BS versus the BA. I know this is getting more technical than we should go, but you know, part of my job in that situation is to say, okay, here's what it would look like if you did the BFA and the BS. Here's what it would look like if you did the BA and the BA, and let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of those options to really try and find your best pathway to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Just add one last thing, which is that really the way that I think honors works in practice is that we really want to support students in achieving the goals that they have. And one thing that I think students are often surprised by is how many students end up changing their major, or who think they're going to come in double majoring in something and then realize, you know what, I'd rather be able to do an internship, or I'd rather be able to have an undergraduate research experience, but if I do a second major, I don't have as much room for that, right? And the reality is, honors is not one size fits all, where we tell each student, you need to have a 4.0, you need to have a double major. Like, that's really not what it looks like. It really is individualized. And the reality is that in order to do awesome things, it means that different people take different paths. And so while it is important, and you will get pressure from parents and academic advisors or whatever about knowing what you're going to do, honors can help you to explore a bit and to realize that maybe the thing you think you're going to do can actually transform, and that that's okay. And so I just wanted to put a word in for not being freaked out about your major or minors or double majors, because there is time to figure it out, I promise you.
So we have a question here about AP credit and how that impacts the honors experience. Thank you, Elizabeth. I would say that there are sort of two ways that it impacts the honors experience. And one is it allows you more flexibility and choices, particularly within the honors curriculum, of what you can take. So that most of our honors courses replace general education requirements. And if you bring in a lot of AP credits that already fulfill those, then it gives you more flexibility in sort of choosing different kinds of electives or different opportunities, experiential learning opportunities, study abroad opportunities, those kinds of things that honors offers. And so it allows you within the honors curriculum to explore a little bit more and not be locked into, you have to take this track or this track or this track to fulfill honors and general education. So it gives you that flexibility. The other thing to pick up on what Dr. Krause was saying is, it's true, about 75% of our students in honors end up changing their major at some point during their college career. And so bringing in AP credit also gives you an ability to kind of explore during your first year different opportunities that are available to you as majors. What we often find is students don't even realize what majors are all offered, what those degrees really mean. And so they might come in as, well, I want to be pre-med because I want to be a doctor. And they find out, what is this neurobiology or neuroscience thing that's being offered? Or what is radiology? Or what is something else that sort of intersects with their interest, but isn't the exact major that they thought about when they entered as first-year students. And so AP credit's great because it allows you a lot of flexibility in both of those different areas, both within honors and to explore sort of your academic interests generally. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that.
From an advising standpoint, absolutely, bringing the AP credit. I would say I get this question a fair amount from prospective students. Do AP classes count for specific honors classes? And the answer there is no, but exactly what Dean Buss said, it gives you more flexibility within honors. It gives you more flexibility within the your entire academic experience at NKU. But it's not like there's an AP course that counts for one of our honors courses, if that was your question. And I would also, just to really get kind of advisor wonky here, if you're the type of person that's already going out on the online catalog and searching for things and looking up courses and stuff like that, on the degrees, majors, and minors page, scroll all the way down to the bottom to the minors part of that page, and we have a whole bunch of really cool interdisciplinary minors that we don't have majors for at NKU. And I talk to a lot of students that find a connection to a passion within some of those really interesting minors. And then we talk about how to fit those things in too. So we offer a lot of things at NKU that you might not even be aware of yet. So take some time to explore.
Yeah, I can think of two current sort of options or opportunities that would be available for students if they were interested. One, Dr. Tagger, in your area is we're offering a simulations course in the fall, and it's a pure elective, right? So it doesn't count, it doesn't check a box for a major or minor, it does for honors. But if you have enough AP credit where you have some flexibility in your schedule, you know, for those students who are out there watching this, you'd have an opportunity, you know, at the beginning of your second year already to get into the simulation center and work, you know, in sort of healthcare professions where you might not be able to do that until later on in your academic career. So it gives you that opportunity that's very unique. The other thing is, I'm thinking Professor Downing is, you know, students who are really interested in maybe minoring in leadership studies or organizational leadership can take that first year experience set of courses, and it gives you some freedom to do those kinds of interdisciplinary minors or minors that aren't directly connected to a major, but could be incredibly valuable, and would, in some cases, be sort of a bridge between honors and those minors. And so AP courses, you know, a lot of students say, well, I have AP courses, so I really shouldn't be in honors because I have most of my stuff done. And the truth is, it just gives you more opportunities to take advantage of what we have to offer. So any of the faculty, I see Dr. Krause shaking your heads, you can jump in too. You know the answer.
All right, I'll
There's
jump
a
in.
question that popped up. That's why
Yeah.
I was nodding. There's a new
Yes.
question that popped up.
Yeah, but so yeah, school-based scholars works the same way as AP. Like, so any credits that you come in with, whether you are a transfer student, whether you have AP credit from high school, whether it is school-based scholars, any of that just really serves to give you flexibility within honors. And that's the benefit. So yeah.
Any other questions, or welcome to the dog in my the dog in my house barking. Megan, I think she sees your dog on the screen. Or any thoughts from the faculty?
I had to put her in my lap because she was nibbling at my feet. And it's like, okay, I have to just pick her up. Sorry, everybody. She's my regular Zoom bomber. As soon as I start talking to the computer screen, I think she thinks I'm going crazy or something. She attacks me. I just know that I'm really looking forward to teaching my first honors class this fall. And you know, I just want to, you know, I didn't really say anything when they were talking about, the other faculty were talking about the experience, because I thought, well, I really can't speak to that yet. I haven't done it yet. And I haven't actually had my meeting with James because of the whole, you know, flipped semester and such. But I know that, you know, in my mind, as I'm planning it, anything is, you know, I just want to just kind of build off what they were saying, because the way I see it is that a lot of it is student driven. You know, we'll give you a structure for it. You know, we definitely come in with this theme and this idea and things to get you started, but a lot of it is students driven. You know, you're a special quality of students that are coming into the honors program, whether it's driven by your interest or your experience. And I know that you're going to bring a lot to whichever classroom that you join us in. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, because I know whatever student chooses to enroll in an honors class, you know, whatever motivates them to do that, I know that they want to learn, that they want to be engaged. And that just really elevates the relationship in the classroom, you know, with all of the participants and the faculty. And it's just you know, I'm looking forward to that experience, whatever medium we wind up doing it in. I know it's going to be awesome.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I have another question. I don't know if there are any professors here who teach any like honors courses in the fine arts, but like, do you know like what courses are going to be offered that like pertain to the arts? Just since I'm a music major, that's something that I'm more interested in.
So we do have one of our learning communities, our first year learning communities, is arts and entertainment, and it's centered on the arts, and the faculty member who's teaching is from the School of the Arts for that first year learning community. We've been working with SOTA to develop some additional opportunities for students, particularly as we're launching soon to be the experiential learning sort of components with honors. And I'm looking at Dr. Kraus because we're working some of those curricular changes through right now. And in fact, we just made some changes with some sort of honors options where you can work with faculty to do projects connected to courses that you're taking that then can translate to honors. And in my mind, I had a lot of the SOTA sort of students and classes in mind when we were talking about those. In fact, I've had several conversations with students who are working on BFAs about how they might work with faculty to do projects in connections with courses that might count toward honors. And I'm currently working with an honors capstone student who's doing a large photography project, for example, as her honors capstone thesis. So, Dr. Kraus?
Yeah, another thing that I would say too is that, I mean, yes, there's certainly, I mean, we are working on ways to allow students, particularly in the arts, to sort of combine their interest in the arts with what they're doing in honors, for sure. Another thing I'll say, though, is that for many honors courses, if not all, there are possibilities for doing creative work in those courses, even if that's not the content area of the course. So let me give you as an example. I taught a class a couple of years ago now that was, the theme of it was Expatriate Paris. And it was looking at all of these different sort of cultural ideas about expatriation and what it means to decide to live as a visitor in another country. And we went all the way from the 1890s up until like Serena Williams having her Paris apartment. Like, so that was what the class was. Well, I had a student who was really interested in the jazz age in Paris and who was a music major. And what he did for his final project for me was he composed a piece of music that basically was drawing on the music of that period. And he did a research-based literature review where he talked about the music of the period and learned a bunch about it. And so I guess what I'm saying is, even in a class that has a topic that's not directly about the arts, because honors is so self-directed, you can find a way to bring your interest to the class you're in. And so I just want to encourage all students to really think about it that way, that don't feel like, oh, well, this is a class about this, I'm not allowed. You're allowed to do whatever you want in honors. So, and I think others can talk about ways in which students have taken creative approaches as well. And I know that's certainly true for me in, you know, my Honors 101 and 102 classes. I've always had students who ended up doing kind of things that might seem far afield, but they connect to all the work we've been doing the whole semester. So.
Maria, you said you're a music major. Do you have an instrument?
Yeah, my instrument is piano.
Okay. So are you doing like a BFA in piano? Do you know yet? I'm curious.
Fine. I'm doing a bachelor's of music in piano performance with the pedagogy track.
Okay. Okay.
I would just chime in with one of the study abroad opportunities that a lot of music majors take advantage of is a program in Austria that you can do. And I believe NKU's music professors are usually some of the instructors of that. And we have supported honors music majors in the past to attend that study abroad program, and it's courses that count towards music. We can count them as an honors experience as well. And that helps fit things in. So that's a really good opportunity. And there's study abroad scholarships through honors to help you fund that experience. So that's a really good connection for honor students in the music major. And just generally following up on what Dr. Kraus said, well, one of the great things about all honors courses is kind of this meeting of minds and hearing what the business majors take on a topic is, hearing what a art majors take on a topic is, hearing what a history majors take on a topic is. That's what makes honors so fantastic and what makes the honors classes so unique and such a rich experience.
Wait,
Dean, can I talk about study abroad with nursing real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're really trying to ramp up study abroad in our healthcare programs, and unfortunately we just had one canceled. We were supposed to leave in about 2 weeks for South Africa, and obviously are not doing that at the moment. But they will be going, there's faculty going to Cuba next May, as long as everything, plans out or pans out okay. But hopefully the year after that we'll be getting back to South Africa. But we are looking at really trying to find ways to engage our healthcare students in honors, as well as study abroad. And we are working to get some credit within our healthcare programs, especially nursing. You can get your community and public health clinical credit through study abroad. So those are new things that we are putting into place, and it's pretty exciting. I'm excited about it, just looking at healthcare in different countries.
And of course, honors has financial support for students who are studying abroad, and would count those study abroad opportunities toward your honors requirements. And so it's a way to work together, whether it's study abroad for healthcare or for music or whatever that might be. We only have a few minutes left, and I do want to, just a few logistical things, because we've had some of these questions is, okay, so Maria, you want to be part of the arts and entertainment learning community with Honors 101 and 102. How do you do that? Or how will I know if I've gotten into the Honors 101 and 102 courses or the first year experience that I want to? Whether it's the leadership learning community engagement, nursing, pre-med, whatever that might be. So this is why it's important. I've been sending a few emails out. I sent the one that was the invitation for today, included it. There's a link to an honors confirmation website, and it just asks a few questions. But those questions are important, including the one about learning communities, because what we will do is David Keim will start working with your major advisors and putting together your fall schedule and getting you into those learning communities before June, the beginning of June. And so we'll have you registered for those courses. So how you get into those is by filling out that confirmation link. That sort of, it's not quite first come, first serve, but definitely at this point, space is running out in some of those. And it also helps us determine whether or not we need to build multiple communities to help facilitate students in areas where there's a lot of interest. So I already know that we're going to have to do a second pre-med learning community because we have about 40 students already signed up for the 18 seats in that class. So our learning communities are capped at 18 students per course and per community. So it helps us get an idea of what we need to develop and where we we might have to rearrange schedules or things like that. So it's important for those of you listening out there, either here live or in the YouTube channel. You can actually find that confirmation link. If you lost the email, you can't find it, all you have to do is go to the Honors College webpage, nku.edu/honors, and there's a link right there on the front of the page that says confirm your spot, and that leads you to the survey to do that. So we have about 5 minutes. Do we have any final questions or even thoughts by the faculty or anything that you'd like to add at this point?
I'll add one final thing, just because of something I know about my Honors 102 section. With the pandemic situation and us going online, I have about 4 international students in my section of 102, and 2 of them were able to go to family members' homes elsewhere outside of actually the state of Kentucky. But 2 of my students were going to have to stay in the dorms, even though the dorm rooms are closed because of the pandemic. And I was really impressed that because of their honors experience and the way they've gotten to know each other, both last semester and this semester, the 2 of them, along with I think 2 other honors students, have rented an apartment together at Hampton Farms. And so they formed a little honors community there so that they can make their own food and be together rather than in isolation at the dorms. And so I really wanted to make something that's really impressed me is the way in which the honors students really do get to know each other. They have a common room space where they can sit together, eat their lunch together. They're always chatting to each other and to faculty and to staff. It's a very collaborative environment. And I think, you know, seeing what's happened with my students is the direct result of that. So I just wanted to encourage you to realize it's more than just even your classes.
Were there any other questions that we didn't cover from other webinars, or have we basically hit on all the important things?
Yeah, I think one of the, Dr. O'Callahan, maybe you could speak to this, because this is one of the questions we've gotten in a few of the, and I've mentioned you by name in some of the other webinars, because we don't have a specific learning community geared toward computer science technology majors at the moment. But your courses in their topics often attract students from those majors. And so I thought maybe you could talk about the work that we're doing in that area for students who might be listening out there who are computer science majors or thinking about information technology.
Okay, well, what I can tell you is that the College of Informatics has done a lot of work, not just within what you would think is obvious, their computer science department, and they have this incredibly well-developed and nationally recognized cybersecurity program. But in addition to that, they have created general education courses for students both in their college and across the university that deal with technology, whether it's learning how to do scripting as opposed to hardcore programming. But they also have one, INF 128, which is the Principles of Informatics, which talks about information data and how we turn it into information and how we digitize it, which applies to all disciplines. And so in my Honors 102 class, I got a lot of students from the College of Informatics because I had digital culture. But I think it's important to understand that that is not just the domain of one department, nor even one college. They're very aware that this goes across all colleges. There's a very active video gaming community on campus, as well as a very active Pokemon Go community, which even though I'm in English, I actually work with augmented reality and have been working on a teaching text of Chaucer's Canterbury Tales that has digital enhancements, including AR enhancements. So I often run into the students playing Pokemon Go on campus, which is a very good gymnasium for Pokemon Go. We have at NKU, and often end up participating with them because some of them are my former students. So I really would emphasize that even though it's not a particular track at this point, there are easily the possibility to bring your interest in things like digital culture across a number of courses, both in honors and outside of honors. Does that answer the question, Dean Bass?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I know we're short of time, so I didn't want to be too long.
No, it's often the question we get, because if you look at our list of learning communities, you'll see different kinds of majors, arts and entertainment, pre-med, pre-nursing, those kinds of things. And there's nothing that, says technology or something like that. But we are developing areas and, fields in those areas. Honors is actually, will be host to our competitive esports program at NKU after next year. So there's a lot of sort of overlap in those areas. Like I said, honors serve students from every major and every program across campus. And we try to sort of coordinate that with, when we see populations of students from different majors, different areas of interest, we develop programming for those students. I know we're a little short on time. Any final words from any of our faculty?
It was wonderful to meet you all.
Yeah, and I mean, I also would say,
to seeing you in the fall.
the other thing I would say is just, if you have questions, whether it is about what is going to happen in a particular course or just about honors generally, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're really friendly and we want to be helpful. So
all my enthusiasm at the beginning of this, when I was like, no, it's fun, was because I just came from a Zoom session with my students, and they're working on their research projects, and the excitement is contagious this time of year. And so hopefully that helps you see what it can be like in the classroom, and whether it's virtual or in body, you know, it's catching, and it's a lot of enthusiasm about learning stuff that you're genuinely interested in, and having the freedom to do that, and kind of figuring out what your passion is and what you want to learn. It's a lot of fun in that way. So I'm really happy to meet all of you, and really happy you're here.
So with that, I'm going to sign us off here. I want to remind everyone, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us who are here today, or anyone in the Honors College in general. Don't forget to fill out your confirmation surveys for honors to confirm your spot and to select your first year learning community or first year courses. And also to check us out in our other videos on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, search for NKU Honors College, you'll find our channel and all of our previous webinars there. So thank you all for joining us. Appreciate all of the faculty taking time out of their Friday afternoons. And we are excited and looking forward to seeing all the students here in the fall semester. So have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all in the next webinar.